Hi, this is Adam from MakerStake, and in this video I want to show you some different techniques for working with cardboard as part of the Inventors Club series. In this video I'm going to show you 3 different techniques for working with cardboard that can help you build strong, sturdy structures that you can use in your Inventors Club challenges or in any other cardboard related builds. And specifically we're going to build this little cardboard skyscraper with an LED on top. So in this little video I'm also going to show you the basics of working with LEDs, coin cell batteries, and copper tape to create simple paper circuits. Okay, let's get started. So I have a piece of cardboard here. This is 9 inches by 4 inches, and if you're not using those exact measurements, that's okay, but just may have to troubleshoot some different sizes and things like that. So the measurements I'm using in this video work out well for me, so try other measurements at your own risk. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to mark this. I'm going to divide this piece of cardboard into a couple different pieces. So I'm going to start by marking 4 inches and 6 inches on the bottom, and I'm going to bring this up to the top and mark the same distances up there. 4 inches and 6 inches, okay? And the reason I want to do that is because I want to cut this piece of cardboard into 3 pieces of those sizes. So I'm going to first cut from between my 2 4-inch marks. And that will leave me with a 4x4 square, roughly. And then I'm going to cut between my second 2 marks, and this is going to leave me with 1 3x4 piece, which will act as the tower's base, and this other 2x4 piece that we will use for this little piece on top, and maybe some other little decorations if we want. Okay, I'm going to put my smaller 2 pieces off to the side and just start by working with this 4x4 piece. Okay, and what I'm going to do first is make 4 marks at the 1, 2, and 3 inch marks. So 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I should note that as I make these markings, I'm going with the grain of the cardboard. So you can see by looking at the cardboard that the folds underneath this top layer are going up and down, and I'm going to mark along that same direction, and you'll see why in just a moment. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, great. So now I have my 1, 2, and 3 inch points marked. I'm going to take a sharp pencil and kind of drag my pencil from the top to the bottom, and my goal here is to actually cut through one layer of the cardboard using my pencil. And this is our first cardboard technique called scoring, and scoring you use in cardboard as well as with other materials like clay, and it just means to make kind of like light marks or light cuts on an object that don't go all the way through that object. So I'm going to use my pencil and just draw straight down, and this should be pretty easy if you're going with the grain. You won't even need a ruler to draw a relatively straight line, and my pencil did a perfect job of just breaking this top layer of the cardboard. I'm going to do that for all 3 of those marks, and when I'm done I should have roughly 4 equal sections that I could easily bend into kind of a perfect, rectangular prism like this, okay? Before I move on, I also want to make one more score mark, and I'm going to mark 1 inch from one side of this. 1 inch there, and I'm going to do the same over here. 1 inch. And what I'm going to do with this is draw from the top to the bottom. I'm not actually going to use my ruler for this because I'm going against the grain, and it'll be a little bit harder to keep it straight, but I can still get a nice perforation. Great. Okay, so now I have my 4 columns and my 4 little boxes at the bottom, and now I'm going to fold this into that rectangular prism and take a little bit of Scotch tape. So I'm going to start with one piece to just kind of go around this way and keep these pieces all in place. And then I'm going to take one more slightly longer piece. Whoops, there goes my pencil. Take one more slightly longer piece, and that is going to cover this corner right here. Just like that, okay? So now I have kind of a nice little tower shape here, and what I need to do now is take my scissors, and I'm going to cut these corners on the bottom so that these pieces that I've scored can kind of stick out and become feet. And this is my second cardboard technique that I'm using here, and that is making cardboard feet. So this kind of is something you can do with a score, but after scoring, I'm gonna bend these out and make these 4 cardboard feet. And now I'm going to take my the larger of the 2 pieces I've put aside, this 3x4 piece, and this is going to serve as my base. So with my tower on here, I'm going to take a little bit more tape and start taping these feet to this cardboard piece here. Good, so now I have my tower sitting nicely on this cardboard base. Next thing I'm going to do is take my final piece of cardboard, and I'm going to use this to create this top piece where my LED lives. And if we just look at this closely, we see that this is almost like an arrowhead shape, and we have 2 pieces of copper tape with an LED on top and the coin cell battery taped around the base of it. And that just sits nicely here in the top of my thing. It doesn't move around too much. I can even, tip this upside down or move it around, and that's not gonna fall out, okay? So this is actually using a notch, and that's kind of our third technique here. And to create this notch, what I'm going to do first is hold this last piece of cardboard above the base, and I'm going to mark where the walls meet it. 1, 2, marks for the walls. And now with my scissors, I'm just gonna cut this in half because I don't actually need all of this. And now I'm going to mark maybe about halfway up this. And this is not a this is just kind of by eye, halfway up this. And I'm going to go from these points to this point and create, kind of a pointed top on this, right? So 1, 2 cuts to give me my pointed top. Very good. And now I'm going to cut up and over. So I'm going to start by cutting up just on these 2 kind of wall points that I drew just a moment ago. 1, 2, and now I'm going to cut over with these scissors. And now I can just take these parts out, and this shape that I've made should fit perfectly into my tower. This is good. That looks like I've made it a bit too wide, so I can actually go back with my scissors now and slim off some of these kind of pointed edges, and just be careful that you don't actually, cut off this little ledge that you've made, but you can, sharpen these corners a little bit if you want to, just so they don't jut out as much. Okay, great. So now you can see that that's fitting snugly into my tower, and I can shake this around quite intensely, and that's not going anywhere. So that's great. Now I can take this back out, and I can prepare to put my LED on it. And for the LED, what I'm going to do first is take some of this copper tape, and I need 2 pieces. First piece is going to be, about this big, just going to live on one side, and the second piece is going to be about double that long. It's going to start on one side and actually wrap around a little bit, okay? So I can put the rest of that to the side, and now I'm going to peel the white paper off of this copper tape, and this part can be certainly a little bit tricky, but with persistence, you should be able to peel the copper from the paper, and try not to let it stick to itself before you stick it down. This is the longer piece, so I'm going to start this one here, and that's going to wrap around, but I'll let that just hang off the bottom for now. And now with my second piece, I'm going to do the same thing, except it's just going to live on this one side right there. Okay, good. Now I can take my battery, and I'm going to put my battery plus sign side up right here on the side where the piece doesn't wrap around. And now this piece that does wrap around is going to stick directly onto the battery like so. At which point I'm going to take a little bit more Scotch tape and just do one wrap around this whole bottom of my arrow right here. So 1 full wrap around. Great. Now, I need to just take my LED and stick it on top. And one note about the LED, if I hold this close, you should be able to see that there are 2 different legs on this LED. One is longer than the other, and we need the side with the longer leg to go to the side without the battery. And we're just gonna stick this LED right over the top so that our 2 legs touch the 2 sides of this copper tape, with the longer leg going to the side without the battery. And when we do that, we should see our LED light up, just as mine does, okay? And what's important is that these legs are going to the correct side. If I flip this around and put the shorter leg put the longer leg to the battery, that's not gonna work. We need the longer leg in this configuration to go away from the battery, okay? Longer leg away from the battery with the plus side of the battery pointed up, okay? And once I've done that, I can take some tape. I'm just going to secure this LED in place with a piece of regular tape. 1, 2, and maybe I'll just snip that extra tape off right there. Very good. Okay, and once I've done that, I can place this in the top of my tower. And now I've completed my tower. And at this point I can decorate it with my marker, or I can think about things to add to it or other notches or additions I can build off of this. But this is a simple tower that gets us working with cardboard, gets us familiar with working with cardboard, and lets us experiment with some fun uses for our LED and coin cell batteries, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a pleasant experience working with cardboard and with your Inventors Club challenges, okay? So thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.